Hello, welcome to Halcyon podcast, or this is kind of becoming a weekly thing, so I might make it its own thing, but it's going to be focusing on sports. Sports this week, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Going to be a big week and a half of sport, for me anyway, because I'm basically an American now. I'm overweight, I like shiny cartoon characters, and I love grown men clattering each other. Why? I don't know. Just natural pugilistic interests. The two big sporting events happening in the next few days: the NFL Super Bowl and the WWE Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's happening in 2 days, and the NFL Super Bowl is going to be the week after. Going to cover the NFL because I like to do previews for things, and especially considering the size of something like the NFL, I think that there is a market for it, and especially in the UK it seems to be picking up a little bit in terms of popularity. So, predictions! That's what you want to know, that's what everyone wants to know. Who the hell is going to win? Patriots versus, this is what, I've really not followed the NFL season this season. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. For those of you who actually understand what that means, you'll understand why I don't tend to watch the NFL, although from what I hear we had a decent run this year. However, I always tend to make a point to watch the Super Bowl. Last year I didn't, for various reasons. Year before that, and the year before that, I've watched at least the Super Bowl every single season, and I do a bit of numbers crunching and a bit of stat crunching to make sure that I understand the ins and outs of the teams and who potentially is going to win. The first one I think I called was Ravens 49ers, and I called the Ravens win on that one. I think the only one that I got wrong so far was in fairly spectacular fashion when the Broncos did pretty much everything wrong in a game. I've never seen a game so unbelievably terrible in my whole life. If you want to see an NFL game where every conceivable thing could go wrong with an offensive line or a defensive line, for while I remember, watch that NFL Super Bowl game. It's 3 years old now. Peyton Manning's one of his last few Super Bowls. I really hope I got that right. I don't think it was the Seahawks that fucked it up. Anyway, who's going to win this year? From what I understand, the Atlanta Falcons have been absolutely smashing points records. Their QB, Matt Ryan, never heard of him. Apparently he's done really, really well. I mean, if we look at the statistics, in terms of this season, postseason, we've got top QBs, and there is a 60-yard passing difference between Matt Ryan and Tom Brady, who's playing for the New England Patriots, going for his 5th ever Super Bowl ring, which would make him effectively the greatest quarterback of all time in terms of just outright wins. If you want my opinion, without crunching the stats, because if you look immediately, this is the ESPN website, it's readily available. The top 2 QBs for passing yards are already out of it. Aaron Rodgers, who would appear to have had a stellar season this season. It's just one of those things where New England are more effective with their rushing yards, receiving yards, and quarterback touchdown conversion rates than most other teams, and that's why they're so successful. They're not spectacular, the New England Patriots, but they're ruthlessly efficient and effective, and they know how to grind out games and win games. If I'm going to put my money, it's going to be New England. And you've got to think, because we saw this last year with Cam Newton, who couldn't really get his offense off the line. Last year's Super Bowl was a bad Super Bowl. In fact, I'm actually kind of glad I missed it, because it really wasn't that. Neither team could really get going. It was a really odd game where neither defense nor offense seemed to want to step up to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and it was just kind of, New England won it. But was it? I might be misremembering. Do you know what? Before I go any further, I'm not going to make myself look like an idiot. NFL. Let's have a look. Let's get our facts straight first of all. So, let's get it right. So let's go to the last few years. So let's go to the one that I watched first. Okay, so it's 4 years. So Baltimore Ravens, got that one. Seahawks, Broncos got annihilated. So it was the Broncos, sorry, my apologies, it was the Broncos that nullified the Carolina Panthers, and it was the Patriots and the Seahawks. Conversely, if you want to see the best that the NFL has to offer in terms of a game, New England Seahawks game, go watch it right now. It's a gem of it. It's magnificent, the pantomime and the structure. It was absolutely magnificent. Nevertheless, you see a trend with a lot of these Super Bowl victories. The more established, the more well-rounded, and potentially the most experienced quarterback usually comes away with the win. The only exception to that was the Seattle Seahawks, but then the following year, when they had the chance to do the double, they fumbled the last play. Now, that's the problem with calling a Super Bowl. You can't account for the oh my god moments. Each of these games has a story to tell. Previous year, it was Denver Broncos and it was Peyton Manning's moment. I'm going to retire on top. Cool. But it should have been Cam Newton's, this is my announcement, this is my arrival. Previous year, Seahawks were dominant throughout the course of the year. Should have been theirs, and they fucked up the last play. Again, classic match. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. The Seahawks Broncos was a epitome of what the fuck. How else can you fuck up a game? In fact, I think the stat is they were scored against in every conceivable way it's possible to score against a team. So they, at one point in the game, every way you can score points. So in American football, traditionally how you score points is the traditional touchdown, 6 points. You've got the extra point, which is the kick after the touchdown. You've also got sometimes extra points. So if you want to run it in or pass it in instead of kicking it, you could potentially win 2, but it's a much more riskier proposition because, of course, just kicking it is a lot simpler and a lot quicker. You also got field goals. Now, what you also have is touchbacks. Traditionally speaking, the only time that you'll see a guy in an end zone take the ball and take a knee is from a kick receive, and that's to make sure that he doesn't get then trounced on by about 20 other guys. Now, if, however, a quarterback, a receiver, or I think it's only a quarterback and it's a quarterback and a receiver. If you're tackled in the end zone, I think it's 2 points. And that was the opening kick of that Super Bowl. Okay, kick, drops the ball. From that, and I bet the Broncos, I was convinced the Broncos were going to walk it. They broke every scoring record that year. Peyton Manning and his receivers were untouchable. They seldom ran the ball because they were just so efficient at the passing game. Alas, they got trounced. Bringing it back to it as it pertains to this game. If you look at the stats post-season, and this is where you really want to be looking, New England Patriots seem to have the edge. And so I will call it New England. But I will say, let's put a proviso. I will say that the game will be over by the first half. I'm going to say that the New England Patriots are going to get 2 touchdowns up by the end of the first half. and that'll be game over. If there's still 3 points in it come the first half, I'm going to give it to the Falcons. I know it's a double-edged sword, but it's my show, so I can do whatever the hell I like. If they're 2 touchdowns up by the end of the first half, I'm giving it to the New England Patriots. If they're still within 3 points, either way, Falcons. If they're 3 points ahead or 3 points behind, I'm giving it to them over the course of the game. Cool! Super Bowl done then. I would invite most people to watch it. It is a grind, and it's not quite the same recording it and watching it the day after. So if you can, try and watch it live. If you can't, it's regrettable, but there's something about the experience of watching the live Super Bowl. It just seems to, I don't know, the pantomime of it, the theatre, all the people, the noise, the anticipation. And people can't get bored of watching American football if they know what they're watching. If you have no idea what's going on, yeah, it can be very tedious. But I love watching American football. It's one of those few occasions where you can watch a game intently, and every time they line up to do something, something could happen. It's great. So, that concludes the NFL predictions. It should be a good game. You know, Tom Brady's out to make a point. So is Matt Ryan. This is probably going to be his only opportunity to go for a Super Bowl. Well, the Atlanta Falcons were ridiculed for the last couple of years for being not that great. Moving on to the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, my favourite WWE event of the year. It's always great, it's always amazing, and this year I'm going to get to watch it live, and that's just great. I really love the premise behind the Royal Rumble. I love the execution of it. However, the last few years it's lacked somewhat of a niche. It's lacked that, you know, you want multiple threads really. You don't want there to be just one story. You want kind of, I'll give you the best example. The best Rumble ever, in my opinion. I think it's 2001. You had The Rock. You had Stone Cold. You had Kane and The Undertaker. You had Rikishi on his hot run. You had a myriad of people, maybe not bit players, but they all had moments within the Rumble. And then you had the hardcore element. Kane's domination throughout. A nice intro segment with the Hardys wrestling back and forth. You know, there's just an interesting wrestling match within it. It was just it's great from start to finish. It's a great story. It's great intertwining of stories, setting up of more stories. It's probably my favourite ever. Now, last couple of years, you haven't had that many returns. You haven't had that many stories. In fact, last year, even though it made sense from the crowd's perspective to be happy about the fact that Triple H came back and won by beating Dean Ambrose, that in of itself was weird. In my opinion, if you're going to have Triple H win to garner the most heat and to try and get Roman Reigns back over, if that's what you're trying to do, he needs to eliminate Roman Reigns, preferably by underhanded means. He shouldn't beat him clean, and he shouldn't beat him and then still have someone else. If Roman Reigns goes out, then Dean Ambrose should win. Why is Triple H eliminating the two top guys? Doesn't make any sense. And maybe that's just me, I don't know, but it just had, and I get that WrestleMania was cobbled together just haphazardly because of just absolutely destroyed with injuries and things of that nature, and that's fine. I get that and I appreciate that, but it still doesn't excuse the booking of the final match. Now, the bonus and upside is that sets the bar nice and low for this year's. Now, this year's Royal Rumble consists of a few storylines, again, that should hopefully give us the basis of a good match to anticipate. And if I check the stats, I'm pretty sure that only 22 individuals have actually been named for the event. 30 go in. So that means there's potentially eight people we don't know who's coming in. Now, as I look through the list, let's have a look. So we've got all the big hitters: Show, Strowman, Jericho, Lesnar, Goldberg, Taker. You've got Mr. Royal Rumble, Kofi Kingston. Really looking forward to seeing what he can do this year. I hope he does something a little bit different, not just someone catches him. It's your shtick now. You go into the Rumble, you do something cool. Whatever you decide to do, I'm sure it's going to be great. But let's see what it comes up with. What we don't see is the winner of the UK Championship. I keep forgetting his name. I just know he's got a moustache. We don't see Angle. Potential there. We don't see John Morrison. There's potential there. We don't see Shawn Michaels. San Diego is his hometown, baby. But then again, he said he retired from wrestling and he's not going to come back, and he only ever comes back for story purposes. And what really is there for him to do in terms of story? In terms of winners, who could win? Who stands to benefit from the win? But then again, you have to, and this is what I was trying to say to a few other people. And this is, I watch, if you don't subscribe to them, What Culture. If you don't, then fair enough, but you probably do. What Culture do predictions, and they often do it on the basis of logic, and that's fine. The problem is WWE don't see logic, and in fairness, they are trying to book so that you don't anticipate, because naturally, the anticipation is, it can never live up to what you're anticipating, so it's always best to go in with a blank mind. Now, I think, and I could be wrong in this, and leave it in the comments if you disagree, I think the consensus is that Chris Jericho should be the one to win this year's Royal Rumble, because Kevin Owens is Universal Champ. They're building to a feud. I think it's fair to say, or the smatterings of a feud have been there for a while. Or they could always flip the script and remain friends, which I fucking love. I love that gimmick of them being best friends. It's absolutely amazing. There's just a lot you could do with it. However, you have Undertaker, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, and potentially someone like Braun Strowman, who the WWE are peddling to us, and John Cena. You could, I've mentioned someone and they said, well, no, Cena's wrestling AJ Styles. Hey, listen, they could put whoever they like in. He could wrestle that same night for the same thing, especially if he loses. If one of them loses, they could enter into the Rumble, and then that sets up again for the match at the end of the road. I don't know, but out of the confirmed list, I would have to say that the front runner, in terms of, if we're going to just pick it from the WWE trying to get someone over, because that's the thing you have to remember as well, they're sometimes not in the business of giving fans what they want. Actually, let me just check something, because I haven't checked it. Oh, please. Right, Ambrose is in it. There's the possibility, but the highly unlikely nature of it. Orton's in it. Now, I hope not. I don't know what the... Oh, God, I don't know what the match list is yet. I don't know what the other... Please, God, don't let Roman Reigns be in the Rumble. Please. I hope he's doing so. I don't know. I haven't followed it closely enough over the last couple of weeks. I just know I'm going to be watching this with eager anticipation. But for the love of God, keep Roman Reigns away from that match. Roman Reigns has been the reason for the last 2 years worth of... He's just... Me and a buddy of mine were discussing this the other day, as a matter of fact. Turn Roman heel or turn Cena heel, and you've got a moneymaker. You've got a Hulk Hogan-esque character. Personally, I would love to see Roman Reigns go heel. I think it'd be brilliant. I would also like to see John Cena get a bit heelish. You can keep him babyface if you want, but give us a little bit of that FU attitude. Give us some of that gimmick again, and that'd be cool. So, who am I picking for the win? I would love Chris Jericho, but I'm going to be a bit limp-wristed. I'm going to say if one of the returnees, one of the 8, I think is going to go on to win the Rumble. I'd kind of like it to be Kurt Angle. I think that'd be kind of cool, but we'll see what happens. But I'll pick one of the returnees, and if I'm gun to my head, I have to pick one of them from here. I don't think Strowman can win it. I don't want Strowman to win it, so I'm picking Chris Jericho. Come on, Jericho! You've never won the Rumble before, and it goes into a program with Kevin Owens for WrestleMania perfectly. WWE, do the right thing. Please, I'm begging you, do the right thing now. So that's the Rumble. So Rumble, I want Chris Jericho to win, but something tells me one of the surprise entrants is going to win it for some reason. I don't know. Somebody's just tugging that. For the NFL Super Bowl, I'm picking the New England Patriots. Gun to my head on both of those. Right. In terms of other things I wanted to discuss, because I like this podcast to be about a few things, not just sport. I've been job hunting recently. What I want to do here is, if anyone else is struggling with that, okay, I'm here to kind of offer the reassuring stance. It's a real grind. When I first started looking for jobs, I was 18, 19. No, I'm lying. I was 20 years old, and I've been working since I was 16. And it's changed dramatically. It's become a much less personable business, much less of a commodity, more of a transaction now. And it's sad, it's depressing. You do find yourself being herded a little bit. You find yourself being marginalised quite a lot and condescended to and patronised. It's a very demoralising experience, I have to say. So it's one of those things where you have to balance your innate ability to be able to sell yourself and believe in yourself, and you also have to be on the nose for an opportunity. Sometimes not going along the beaten track is the best course of action, because everyone else is going that route. So how can you stand out? How can you compete? Well, you need to stick to your strengths, you need to accentuate them, and you need to think about, well, what's everyone else not thought of? How do I get their attention? I can't tell you the amount of frustration that there is in it. It's just so, it's a grind. But if you want to develop, you want to get better, you want to progress in things, you have to put yourself out there. I had a conversation with someone a day or two ago who said they freeze up when they do interviews. They hate doing interviews. They don't like being put under pressure. And the way I sell it to them is, look, don't be afraid. Sell yourself, be confident, be assertive, and just remember the worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, is you walk out without the job, but you walk out with a bit of experience now. Shake off some of the rust, know how you did things, know how you could do things better, know what you could do again the next time. Best case scenario is you walk out with a job. I've been into several interviews for roles that I had very little in the way of qualifications for. Why, you may ask? Because there are core principles that you can translate from one role into another, but you have to sell that to people sometimes. We don't all fit, people of the world don't fit into round pegs that businesses design for us. Okay? None of us were born to be resource schedulers or sales administrators or customer care coordinators or collections advisors or whatever. You're born to be you. And, more to the point, roles, they try to tailor it to an individual that really doesn't exist in this day and age. So you have to be cognizant of that. And the reason why I wanted to just touch on this a bit is because I'm confident when it comes to job hunting. I'm not the sort of person that panics about it. I get down about it sometimes, I can't lie. But it's something that I know will have resolved itself eventually, whereas I know other people do get stressed out about it. People do get daunted by it. They do start to see the sort of repetitive nature and the lack of success as being derogatory and almost like a personal insult to you. And what I wanted to say was, people, if you're in this rut right now, or if you're in a job you hate and you're just scared of looking at, other roles and prospects because, well, you don't want to take that leap, then that's fine. But I would much rather pursue it. I would much rather try and get ahead than stay behind, if that makes sense. It isn't easy, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, but it's got to be done. So good luck to you. If you're doing it, keep doing it. You're amazing, whoever you are. When you're watching this, I believe in you. I don't really. I do believe in you. I'm sorry. Anyway, the show. I've done a few episodes of this recently. I'm going to take a step back from these now after this one, I think. They're a bit too rambly, they're not well coordinated, and they're easy to make, but I don't know, I'd rather do something a bit more pointed. So, for people who watch the show, you might be surprised to know that in the next few episodes I'm going to get quite dark on some of these trailers, some of the movies that I'm seeing, some of the television shows I'm seeing, some apps that I've been on. I just really have the need and knack to tear some stuff apart. I'm going to nerd out on a few things as well. They're going to be more opinion-based pieces, but they're going to be opinions based on what I've observed and what my thoughts are on them. So they won't just be me frothing at the mouth at something. They'll hopefully be constructive and entertaining. Clean Bandit video is still giving me chuckles, and I've made the damn thing. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this particular podcast or listening to this podcast. Please like, share, or dislike and share. Subscribe. Appreciate 23 subscribers now, people. You sexy bastards. Someone keeps subscribing and then unsubscribing, but that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind that. But yeah, 23 subscribers. I'm kind of happy about that. I'm gonna put another subscriber. That's pretty cool. Appreciate it, whoever you are, you sexy beast. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching again. Please stay tuned for these episodes. Not too sure if they'll be full-blown razors. Probably they'll be more like blinks. So we'll see what happens with those. So stay tuned. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. You take care.